he asked me where the courthouse was, and I gave him explicit directions. I told him it was 2 blocks down, and then take a left, and then go a block down on the right, and then the courthouse is down on the left-hand side. And my friend looked at me and said, "How do you know that? We just got to town. We don't have a map. We've never been here." This was in 1994, so there was no Google, there was no internet, there was no phones, really cell phones that worked that way, and I couldn't answer him. And then I realized later that I had lived there in the 1880s at that time, and that's why I'm drawn to it. So, for people who are drawn to certain places at certain times, you likely lived then and there. And by the way, we did follow my own directions, and sure enough, it took us right to the front door of the courthouse.
That's interesting. So you think then that you were a part of Tombstone then back in the day, or at least at some point?
Yes. And actually later I did a past life regression, and come to find out, it revealed that I think it was a minor, and I remember having a dog, like a hound dog, and in the regression, and I could describe my clothes and the shack that I was living in and so forth, and I was just amazed when I came out of it.
Now I feel like, and I'm curious about what your take on this is. I feel like that I have a past life regret, or like I belong to the UK, and I wondered about the same thing about you, because I know that you're drawn to the UK as well.
Well, I am drawn to the UK actually, because my husband is drawn to the UK.
So he's drawn more. He's drawn more to it than you are.
Yes. Yeah. He had a past life regression done too, and it revealed he was actually able to describe a house that he lived in. And when we were in Ireland, as it turned out to be, we ran into a recreation of an historic house from like the 14 or 1300s, and it was exactly as he described it years before.
That's crazy. That's beautiful. Now, what is it? And for those of you on the live streams, we were cut off, but now we're back. So if you have questions for Rob, please put them in there now. But as far as the Birdcage is concerned, for what drew you to writing a book about the Birdcage Theater?
Well, I've always been fascinated with Wyatt Earp, and I've always wanted to write a book about Wyatt Earp. Well, there are too many, so I give that up. But I was, once I started getting in touch with the other side, when my abilities really awakened in 2005, I went back to the Birdcage Theater in 2019, and I went back with a friend who has never had a paranormal experience, and I asked him if he would go on the ghost tour with me, and he said, sure. So we did. And he had 2 paranormal experiences, and I had many.
Okay. So, I mean, like you said, and I just want to quickly mention, I'm going to wait a little bit on that, because there is so much about the Birdcage, and when we went, we also just had a ghost tour, and then we had an investigation afterwards. But even there, like the tour guide, she, and she's in the period costume, and she's talking, and she has a bow in her back, like a tied bow, and we're watching the bow untie itself. And then she's just like, "Oh, did I snag this on something?" It's like, no, it literally just untied itself.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. There's so many weird things that go on in there.
Well, what's your favorite weird thing that's gone on in there for you?
Oh gosh. Ghosts usually share the pain of death with me. That's one way that they identify with themselves. So I feel the physical pain and experience the physical pain. So I can talk about one or two of those in particular.
Okay, well, why don't we do this? Because I don't want to cut you off, and we're going to be heading into our second break. These things go by very quickly, don't they? Why don't we do that, and then we can spend the third segment focusing directly on those experiences. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation about the Haunted Birdcage Theater with author and medium Rob Guttrow. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, the most informative source for progressive politics and news in the Twin Cities. Get involved online at am950radio.com, where you can sign up for our weekly newsletter, check out the local businesses that help make this content available, and stay up to date on the latest news and upcoming events. You can always reach us by email at comment@am950radio.com. That's comment@am950radio.com. Thanks for listening.
Do yourself a favor and check out the amazing cuisine of eatlocalminnesota.com. More than just a website, eatlocalminnesota.com provides you with the best local and independently owned restaurants in the Twin Cities. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking cuisine, the Great Wall Chinese restaurant has been a local favorite since 1981. They offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include the sesame chicken, imperial beef, and Peking duck. The Great Wall restaurant is located off 45th and France, with takeout available too. More at greatwallrestaurant.us. The next time you're out in South Minneapolis, make Nightingale off 26th and Lyndale your go-to dining option. It's a comfortable neighborhood restaurant that features a delicious menu of American classics, plus a wide drink and cocktail selection. Nightingale has dining room and bar seating available, plus takeout and delivery. Current hours are 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. daily with the full menu until midnight. More at nightingalempls.com.
Tune in this Saturday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. for the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show right here on AM 950. We'll be discussing why our tomatoes were no good and how others are experiencing the same problem, as well as prepping your property for fall, as well as our guest is author Kim Howes-Roman. Plus, your garden questions will get answered. That's all this Saturday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. right here on AM 950. Catch the replay Sunday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m.
Have you heard about the District Edina? Well, if you haven't, you're in for a treat. The District Edina is the Twin Cities' newest and most exciting destination for all things home design and remodeling. If you're looking for flooring or window treatments, furnishings, a builder to handle a remodel or an addition, kitchen or bath work, or even original fine art, you will find it at the District Edina. The District Edina, 7777 Washington Avenue South, and online at, wait for it, thedistrictedina.com.
Hi, Alex of Better Futures Minnesota. Does your business or organization need janitorial services, lawn care, or snow services? Obtain a free, no-obligation estimate from Better Futures Minnesota when you mention that you heard about us on AM 950. Our supervised, hardworking, and affordable crews will handle your interior and exterior building and property maintenance needs while you help men in your community transform their lives and walk on a positive path to success. It's a win-win. To learn more, go to betterfuturesminnesota.com under Business Services.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067. or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
I hope that you have been visiting Enchanted Boutique. Lots of good stuff is going on there. Please remember to support our friends over there at Enchanted Boutique. This wonderful metaphysical store offers products such as books, candles, tarot cards, crystals, plus classes and services. They are truly wonderful people. You can visit them at 1860 Beam Avenue, Maplewood, Minnesota. But if you're not either wanting to go to a physical location or you're not in Minnesota, you can go to their Facebook page, Enchanted Boutique MN, and also their website, enchantedboutiquemn.com. On their social media channels, they keep talking about a lot of good stuff coming on. I'm actually going to reach out to them here very soon to get them back on the show. It's been a while. We can talk about what's going on, what's new, and you can find out there's always something good happening there. Go to their social media, go to their website, check it out, And I just want to make sure that you all are aware of what's going on over there, because it's summer and they have a lot of fun stuff planned, a lot of great classes and services. So go to enchantedboutiquemn.com once again, or you can go over to their Facebook, which is Enchanted Boutique MN. Trust me, you're going to enjoy it. Okay. And then us over at Parafriends events are back with 2 new events in Holton, Kansas, September 16th and September 17th at the Haunted Hotel Josephine. I'm going to be out there to take part 2. September 16th will be the Lake House, which was featured on an episode of Discovery Plus's Ghost Hunters earlier this year. And September 17th is at Hotel Josephine. These 2 locations, I mean, honestly, they're incredible. Maybe Rob will write a book about these places someday. We were just there and the activity was incredible. It's worth saving up and taking the road trip. You know, everyone needs to get away for a little bit. Plus, if you buy overnight tickets, you can stay on the property. Check out all the details of these events by clicking on the Hotel Josephine event banner found on my show page on am950radio.com. Also, if you miss Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken live, AM950 replays these episodes Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, or you can listen literally anytime by going to Spotify or iTunes. After listening, please leave a positive review for my show. I'd greatly appreciate it. Today, we are talking with author and medium Rob Guttrow about his newest book, The Ghosts of Birdcage Theater on a Medium's Vacation. This is available through Amazon, folks. And I mean, we're just talking about one book today, but as we were talking, I think Rob, you have 9 of them out now, right? And you're working on a 10th one. And do I have those numbers correct?
Yeah, you do. You're right on. Yep. Number 10 is coming out in January.
So go there. Check. Rob has his own author page on Amazon. So go Rob Guttrow, Gutro. Please go there. Support him, buy the books. They're very good. I've read a few of them, especially when it talks about pets, because, you know, I'm kind of a, lover of little furry people. So, definitely check it out. Now, Rob, we have a good dilemma here. Okay. I'm going to present you with a problem that you can tell me how you want to go about it. We're going to talk about some stuff that you've had happen at the Birdcage Theater, but I also have a number of questions. Since we got the stream back up, we have a number of questions for you. How would you like to proceed?
Let's talk about one of the ghosts, and then we can.
Let's do it. Let's do it. It's like a choose your own adventure radio show. You choose how we go forward. Go ahead.
Awesome. So one quick point that the Birdcage is really haunted because of those activities that I mentioned: the gambling, the acting, the house of ill repute, if you will, and the bar. 26 people were killed there, and there are 140 bullet holes that are in the Birdcage Theater.
Yep.
So there's a lot of raw emotional energy from events that happened there, and there were, because 26 people were killed there, a lot of them didn't cross over, and those are the people that I encountered. So one of the most the craziest ones, if you will, is a chapter that I call "Shot in the Throat."
Mm-hmm.
As you go in the lobby, there is now a partition that wasn't there when it was built in 1881, but they put up a partition. And then once you go into the Birdcage Theater itself, the rest of the theater, where the self-guided tour starts, right at that doorway, when I was going in the ghost store, suddenly I felt a bullet go through my throat.
Ooh. And
I was forced against the wall. So a ghost obviously was shot in the throat there. It turns out, since the male energy, I heard him talking in my head. He told me that he died in that very spot where I was standing, and then he gave me his name. Often they will give me their names or something else.
Sure.
So he told me his name was Jerome. And while I'm standing there gagging, I couldn't speak for about 2 or 3 minutes. He told me that he was shot for cheating a card. He was cheating a card.
Okay. Yeah.
So the tour guide, the docent, ran over to me and she said, "Are you okay?" And I couldn't answer because I was choking. Basically, I felt like I had a bullet in my throat. The next day I came back during the day, and I went in the back during the day. I had befriended the guy that manages the Birdcage Theater, he and his wife, and they took me back there, and I wasn't even thinking. And sure enough, Jerome shared the shot in the throat again. And this time I actually tasted the coppery taste of blood in my mouth. And I felt blood gushing out of my throat. And I just stood there and I couldn't speak until about 3 minutes later.
Wow.
And then I was able to tell them what happened. So, yeah, very scary. But that's what a ghost will do if you're a medium. They will share that stuff.
Absolutely. I was mentioning about Big Minnie earlier, and I had, since leaving the Birdcage, I have spoken to her through my spirit box a few times.
Wow.
She has come through, in fact, on a different investigation at Strawberry Point, Iowa, when someone else was just showing me their pictures of the Birdcage. We were running stuff and she started to come through. And I felt, you know what it's like, Rob, obviously being a medium, that you feel like a friendship over time, right? That you start. So one day we were doing one of my live sessions, and she came through again, and I asked her the question. I'm like, do you prefer us not calling you Big Minnie, but just Minnie? And she said yes, that Big Minnie was derogatory for her because of her size. And she would prefer if no one else called her Big Minnie. And I felt like that was a real wonderful breakthrough. So I just wanted to share that little piece.
That's pretty cool.
Now going to some questions here. Jill from Facebook, she just asked, because you had talked about getting some experience, something from some of the ladies of the night there, and she was wondering what were those experiences? What happened?
Oh gosh, there were quite a number of them. One of them in particular used to go into where is now the business office within the Birdcage, and she would do that because she wanted to avoid certain men. Mm-hmm. She was not only afraid of them, but she didn't like their smell. She didn't like their look. She just conveyed that, she was doing this to earn money, because in the 1880s that was a profession.
Yeah.
And that was one of the very few things that women could do. Sadly, at the time, or women were allowed to do.
Yep.
So that was really a horrifying thing to me, that somebody was so scared and repulsed by having to do that.
Mm-hmm.
There was another one that as soon as you go into the lobby, she would walk back and forth on this balcony, and she would watch people come in. And she's been seen actually by people out in the street when the Birdcage Theater was closed up, and for the night, people would report there's a woman in there, and there wasn't. It was the ghost of one of these ladies of the evening walking on the balcony in the lobby.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting how that stuff creates itself. Now, my question to you, though, Rob, you've been there 3 times. Has there been any of these spirits that have recognized you by like the 3rd time, that they just know who you are?
Yeah, I will say that Jerome, the guy that shot me in the throat, recognized me immediately the 2nd time, and he was, let me just say that he was a jerk in life, and he was still a jerk in death.
Yeah.
And I had told him to back off, and he wouldn't. And one other thing that's actually not in the book, when I went in there the 2nd time, when I went in there for a book signing this past May, I went back again, and I encountered Jerome again. I told him I was going to walk through the Birdcage Theater, and I was going to make short videos of where I encountered different ghosts and talk about them. Mm-hmm. And I said, please leave me alone. Please just let me do what I have to do. And I respect your space if you will respect mine. Well, Greg, got to tell you, every single video I made in there, and they were all like under 60 seconds, all you can hear is a high squealing pitch. So before I went in there, no problem. When I came out of there, no problem.
Wow.
But once I asked Jerome to leave me alone, he decided he didn't like that.
It's almost like a kind of a form of an EVP in a sense. If he's like doctoring your recordings like that, that's really interesting how that works. It's like you said, if you're a jerk in real life, you don't suddenly sprout wings when you die and you're angelic. I wish, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
I have another question. And Don asks, what activity do you think is at the birdcage the most? Do you think it's, spirits that are lingering? Do you think it's a lot of residual? If it's spirits, are they ones that have passed or, crossed? It seems to me if more than likely they wouldn't have crossed and that's why they're still there.
Yeah, they're ghosts. Yeah, they're earthbound ghosts. So they're not, well, in my phraseology, they're not spirits because spirits have crossed over. But yeah, they're earthbound ghosts. There's a lot of residual energy. As a matter of fact, in my book, I mentioned that we were on the ghost tour behind the stage, and we could actually hear men in front of the curtain laughing and drinking and gambling, and there was nobody in front of the curtain.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was residual energy. That
right.
Just came back.
And because when I was there, we had the same thing. And if you're doing the investigation on the stage, they don't have the lights on the floor, and so
right.
You're hearing that disembodied voice, and you're like, "What is out there?"
Yeah, there were a lot of voices out there, a lot of clinking of glasses, and my friend looked at me and he said, "What in the hell is going on?" And I said, this is just residual energy. Our emotional energy is adding to the residual energy that is impressed upon in the wall from that time period. And it's bringing it out. And that's why we can do it.
Right. No, absolutely. And, even when we were there, the tour was going on and I could hear some voices over in the corner. And I said to who I was with, I'm like, I don't even think people here they're even picking up on this because everyone's so used to noises being all over the place. But so I asked our tour guide, I'm like, is there noise bleed from the outside that comes in here if it's just conversation? And she said, no. And I said, well, has anyone else then been hearing the voices over here? And they're all like, oh, it was just like that moment of, oh, yeah, you're right. There's something going on here. Crazy stuff. Yeah,
you had the same experience backstage too. With I asked the same question. I said, can we hear noises from outside? And they said, no, you can't hear anything from outside.
Well, I think that's because we are investigators, and at least for us, the people we're with, we're just normal human beings coming into a place. They're not weirdos like us who are like, well, here, let me flash, let me get a meter going or something. They just actually enjoyed their life or something. I don't know, but it was kind of like, it was weird how, you kind of were like, now, and you all just got to stop and listen because there's stuff happening here and you don't even know it. So
yeah,
that's just crazy. Yeah.
So I don't know if we have to take a break, but when we come back, I can tell you about the two ghostly faces.
Why don't we do that, Patrick? If you're all right with us taking an early break, Rob's just leading us out into commercial break right now. He's taking over, and that's fine. Someone has to run this show, and it's certainly not going to be me. When we come back, we're going to continue on our conversation with Rob Guttrow. We're going to talk about two ghostly faces, which immediately is something I want to hear. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
Hi, my name is Pamela Topchian. I'm a former nurse, published author, and board-certified hypnotherapist with hypnobreakthrough.com. Do you feel stuck in a rut? Finding yourself wondering if this is all there is to life? Tired of just existing? Hypno Breakthrough can help you to reduce stress, release fears, gain confidence, and reach your life's goals holistically, mindfully, and gently. So I ask you, what changes would you like to see in your life? Let's talk about it. Contact me, Pamela Topchian, board certified hypnotherapist, to schedule your free consultation, which includes a complimentary stress-reducing sample session, so you can see how it feels for yourself before any commitments are made. Go to hypnobreakthrough.com for all the information. That's hypnobreakthrough.com.
Hi, folks. This is Kirk Bankstad from Wisconsin's Minocqua Brewing Company, and our progressive beer is now available in Minneapolis. Yes, you Vikings can now buy Biden Beer, Bernie Brew, AOC IPA, and Kamala, a strong vice presidential stout, without having to travel across the border. And the best news yet is that 5% of the proceeds of each beer you buy go to keeping Wisconsin blue.
Drink progressively with Minocqua Brewing. Get their progressive beers at Top 10 Liquors in both Cottage Grove and Plymouth. Find other Twin Cities locations at MinocquaBrewingCompany.com.
Located just north of 50th in France, the Great Wall Restaurant has provided a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, they offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Stop by their Edina location or call for takeout at 952-927-4439. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Hey, Cudahy, this is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. On our show, we talk about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. Weekly correspondents like Dr. Stately, State Senator Mary Kunesh, Robert Lilligren, and Bob Lake update us with Native news that you won't hear anywhere else. Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Listen weeknights from 6 to 7 p.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
This is New Beginnings, hosted by award-winning broadcaster and speaker Freddie Bell.
Freddie, this generation of the baby boomers, people are living longer, so the baby boomers are taking care of elderly parents.
Let's talk about your health, and specifically, let's talk about Medicare. Our show features the concerns of America's 78 million baby boomers in employment, finance, health and nutrition, and even entertainment.
Join us for New Beginnings, Saturday mornings at 11, brought to you in part by Vision Loss Resources.
And I just wanted to give a shout out to Robert Pilot, as he's been such a great supporter of Ghostbox Radio from the beginning. Please make sure to watch or listen to his show. You can also watch it. It's on AM 950 Facebook as well. Native Roots, I'm Awake. It's weekdays, 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. It is a fantastic program. It's very enlightening, actually. It's very much worth a watch and a listen. For our final segment, we continue our conversation with Rob Guttrow about his newest book, The Ghost of the Birdcage Theater on Medium's Vacation, which is available on Amazon. I really hope that some of you go and pick it up. I mean, obviously, Rob is going to be like, I hope all of you go and pick it up, but I'm just being, I'm just trying to be nice about it. I'm a polite person from Minnesota. Rob, we're talking. I want to hear about the two ghost faces that you had seen.
Sure. So one of them actually happened when I went in 1994, and I didn't realize that I took a photograph of the face of an actor that crosses the stage. As you go into the Birdcage Theater, there's a giant portrait of a woman who used to perform there. Her name is Fatima. She's
Yep.
she's a belly dancer. When you go in there and you look at the painting, there's a lot of quirky things in there. I mean, you'll find bullet holes and knife holes and all that stuff. But when I took a picture of that in 1994, in the bottom third of the photograph, if you look at it in the book, you'll see the face, the head of a man with a beard and a mustache. And I didn't realize that when I took the photo. I sent it to my friend there, my new friend, Billy, who managed the Birdcage Theater at that time and still does. Mm-hmm. And he called me and said, look at that photo, pull it out. I mean, this is 1994. We didn't have email, so we just...
Right.
So I looked at it, and you can clearly see the face of a man. You can see his eyes, his nose, his mouth, and mustache and a beard. And he looks almost bald on top. In the book, I put a comparison of a photo I took in 2019 versus the one in 1994, so you can clearly see it. But Billy, the manager, has reported seeing this gentleman on the stage often when he closes up at night. And we think that he is one of the performers. the professor, his name was, and he was mentioned in the movie Tombstone.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And the other one was a photograph my friend Dan, who never had a paranormal experience, took when we were downstairs where the world's longest poker game.
Yeah.
Was held. There is a mirror in one of those cribs, those small rooms where ladies of the evening perform. And in the mirror, he just took a picture in the room, and in the mirror, you can pretty clearly see the face of a gentleman who looks like one of the miners that used to work around the town.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I did, in the book, I also put a photograph of what a miner looks like that kind of resembles the guy in the mirror.
That's really interesting. When we were downstairs, the person who I was with, she saw a figure from, because it's the stairwell from the stage that goes down to the poker game, and looking up, that's where she saw the figure. So she was downstairs and she looked up and she saw somebody, like, for a brief second.
Oh yeah, there's a guy at the top of the stairs, and he shares his pain of death with me when I got there. He's also in the book, and one of the kind of cool things that I did in the book is that I'm able to sketch what the ghosts look like. So I think I have 5 sketches of different ghosts that I saw in there. So as you're reading these chapters, and they're short chapters, you'll be able to see the ghosts that I'm talking about.
Right. And I'm actually looking at some of the stuff right now, because you do have, especially like the shot in the throat. You have a picture in there, my sketch of the man shot in the throat. And then right now I'm looking at the sketch of the ghost who was shot against the wall, who shared his pain of death with me. That's on what you had given me, page 17. That's not indicative to the book, because I think you've given me just the highlights and whatnot. Yeah. So this is really interesting. How did it feel to write this, to get this one out?
This was amazing. It's like something that I wanted to do back in 1994, and here it is, 2022, and I finally got to write a book about the town that has captured my heart for like 30 years.
Right. So, is this just the beginning? Are you going to be doing more books from Tombstone or about Tombstone? I mean, because there's so much. I mean, granted, only 4 or 5 blocks really of that main street exist, but there's so much that happens there.
Yeah, no, I'm going to leave the rest of Tombstone to Tombstone. I did share a couple of other experiences outside the Birdcage Theater that are also in the book. One that I had walking outside, and another one that I had in the town of Bisbee nearby. So those are also in the book. I've got a couple of other vacation spots to talk about.
Did you stay at the Copper Queen?
No, and the reason I didn't is because it's haunted, and they don't let me sleep.
Well, no, I mean, we won't get in now because this isn't the Greg show. This is about you. But I did stay at the Copper Queen and had quite the experience there. Maybe we'll talk about that some other time. But yeah, I mean, this is truly, I mean, Tombstone. And I think about just in my situation of being at the Birdcage, we were there probably about 3-4 hours, not even that, I'm sure. And all this stuff happened. I mean, it's just like, it just really, the words that you said hit me the most of you just go through there and stuff is going to happen to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I will tell you though that when I went on a second ghost tour, during my time in May, when I was out there for 4 days doing a book signing, there were people there that were very, very negative on the tour, and they were kind of poking fun at the ghosts, and the ghosts chose not to respond very much at all. So that goes to the rule that, as paranormal investigators, we say, never provoke or make fun of ghosts. You wouldn't do that to a living person in front of you, so you shouldn't do it to somebody who's dead.
It's sound advice, isn't it? That because this is really, I mean, and it's happy to see that happen because that's what they want. That's people want to get like rile them up and have something happen to them, like their sideshow attraction or something. It's good that they just ignored them completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
It's
I had 2 encounters that night, that second night during the book signing. But other people did not.
Wow, that's amazing. Rob Guttrow is an author, paranormal investigator, and medium with Inspired Ghost Tracking of Maryland. His outstanding books are available on Amazon, and I recommend you go to Amazon to his page and check it out. Rob, thank you so very much for joining me today. This was fun, and we have so much more to talk about.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to joining you again sometime in the future.
I was going to say, we're going to have you back on, and let's have you back on before January, before your book comes out, because there's just always something you and I can talk about.
Perfect.
Awesome. This has been Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken on AM 950. Thank you all for joining me. I'll see you next week, everyone. Take care, and don't forget to forgive.